So now that we've opened our job, we can talk about the map interface. The first thing to realize in the map interface is that below the job name there's an RRID drums open button. The button is also an indicator of how many drums are open. If you click on it, it takes you into the mix calculator, and it's important to remember that at any point in VMUtil, if you get into a menu you want to get out of, click the top left and it takes you back. The center blue triangle represents your GPS position. It will follow you around the map. If you want to move around the map, simply click on the map and move your finger around and the map will move with you. To zoom in, you take two fingers and pull them apart. That will zoom in. Now, if I try to move off of the map by using one finger, it will automatically snap back to my position. Zoom out by pinching your fingers together, the opposite of what we did to zoom in. By using all three of those, you can move around anywhere you want on your map. So now let's talk about icons. The first icon is an open job icon. Clicking on it takes you back to the open job screen where you can get more assigned jobs, download, click on other jobs to open, and jump back and forth between jobs. The second icon over is a barcode icon. This allows you to scan the drum. Remember what I said before, hitting the top left backs you out of any menu, so if you get in there by mistake, just hit back and you'll get out. Third icon turns into a pan button. It'll switch between the satellite icon and the pan hand. The pan hand allows you to move off of your GPS location without automatically snapping back. This is going to be very important for the next thing we're going to talk about, which is that to actually draw this Google map, you need to have a good internet connection. So the first thing you want to do when you're on Wi-Fi is zoom in to the spans that are on your active job. Use those methods we talked about before to zoom in. Then you can click on any span and get either a details or a navigate button. The details button will give you information about that particular span. Clicking close removes it. Clicking on it again and then hitting navigate is going to give you turn-by-turn directions to that span. So this could be very useful if you're using it for navigation. Remember, it's important to zoom in to each of those spans before you get into an area where you have no Wi-Fi. When you click on the pan hand again, it turns back to a satellite icon, snaps you back to your GPS position. Fourth icon is the weather icon. We'll talk about this later. We're just going to click back to get out of it at this time. The last and final icon that looks like a sprocket is the settings icon. This is the most important one to talk about right now because inside there is an option called spray units. When you first get VMUtil, it's important to come in here and switch from acres to feet. This is going to allow you to see your values for the manageable area in feet instead of acres. Also in here is important to realize that there's a menu button for the Google Map display. By default it's going to be set to hybrid, but you can change that to normal view, which is going to give you kind of a Google Street Map view that you can then move around. It's a little more high contrast in bright light. You can click on settings again and go back in, change it to hybrid. That's going to be your satellite icon with some street information and building place information laid over it. The terrain map is just what it sounds. If you ever want to see your terrain, you can get the terrain map. Most importantly, there is a none. So if you forgot to do that step when you were on Wi-Fi and pan into your spans and you decided you needed to be able to click on it, you can select none and you'll still be able to see all your spans and the associated detail information and collect your data even without Wi-Fi. You don't have to have even cached and you're going to be able to use it just fine. Go back to hybrid, and that completes our talk on the map interface.